Her lips were warm and gentle, and with each kiss, the world around us faded into nothingness. The concept of right and wrong had slipped from my mind, leaving only the story unfolding before my eyes. My attention was completely captured by the feel of Victoria's body against mine, her touch sending shivers down my spine. Welcome to Bad Boys Channel, where we reveal true adultery stories with unexpected developments. Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments section, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories. Wishing you enjoyable, relaxing moments. Thank you. Now let's embark on the journey into the story. Once upon a time, on a seemingly ordinary Friday evening, the stage was set for something unexpected. My best friend Leo strolled in, just like he always did, ready to share another adventure together. In the cozy embrace of the living room, laughter and light-hearted banter filled the air when my stepmom, Victoria, made her entrance from upstairs. At 63, Victoria carried an aura that captivated those around her, drawing their attention effortlessly. I had never given it much thought before. Yet not long ago, a change had begun to unfold. Her attire spoke volumes, and the grace with which she moved was captivating. It was as if she possessed an innate understanding of the allure she exuded. Leo caught a glimpse of it as well. It was evident in the way his gaze trailed after her every movement throughout the house. He cast a fleeting glance in my direction, yet I remained silent. It was a silent understanding between us, unspoken yet palpable, lingering in the air like a secret waiting to be unveiled. On that enchanting night, Victoria adorned herself in a silk robe, its ties gently draped around her waist, offering a tantalizing glimpse that was impossible to overlook. As she entered the room, 2 glasses of wine in hand, her smile had a magical quality that made my heart flutter. "You lads seem to be enjoying yourselves," she remarked as she passed us the glasses. "May I accompany you on this journey?" I caught a glimpse of Leo, his expression mirroring my own unease, yet silence enveloped us both as we chose not to voice our dissent. Victoria nestled between us on the couch, her legs crossed, the hem of her robe inching up ever so slightly. As I settled in front of the TV, the flickering images struggled to capture my attention, for the palpable tension in the room wrapped around me like a thick fog, impossible to overlook. Leo cast furtive glances her way, and it was impossible to overlook the way she reveled in the spotlight. As the minutes ticked by in an uncomfortable hush, Victoria drew closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've observed the way you both gaze at me on occasion," she remarked, her eyes darting back and forth between us. In that moment, time seemed to freeze, and my heart came to an abrupt halt. Leo and I shared a moment of silent understanding, our eyes darting between each other, yet words eluded us. With a gentle smile, Victoria's hand danced across my leg before finding its way to Leo's. "Fear not," she murmured softly. "I take no offense. Indeed, it has been on my mind as well." My mouth felt parched. Leo's cheeks were aglow, and I could sense the swirling blend of confusion and thrill dancing in his gaze. Victoria's hand rested gently on Leo's thigh, her fingers dancing in delicate circles. She was dipping her toes into the unknown. And thus, it was unfolding beautifully. "I know I'm older," she continued, her voice a gentle whisper, laced with allure. "Yet, that doesn't imply my desires have vanished. And I've observed that you both share a certain fascination." With a playful smile, she glanced at Leo, then turned her gaze to me, her hand inching higher up Leo's leg. Thoughts swirled in my mind, each one vying for attention as I struggled to grasp the unfolding events. Once upon a time, there was a woman who became my stepmother. Yet, there was an undeniable allure in her gaze, a spark in her touch that sent shivers down my spine, rendering resistance utterly futile. Leo felt a wave of unease wash over him, yet he kept her hand firmly in place. Victoria's eyes sparkled with delight as she drew nearer, her breath a gentle warmth against my ear. "I believe the moment has come for us to cease our charade," she murmured softly. "The air is thick with unspoken words and lingering glances, a palpable tension weaving its way between us. How about we embark on an adventure to uncover it?" The words reached my ears like a whisper from the beyond, leaving me in a state of disbelief. My stepmom, Victoria, was weaving a suggestion that danced on the edges of my imagination, a thought I had never truly entertained, at least not in the light of day. And yet, a whisper within me had pondered it. Her movements were a dance, her smile a gentle invitation, and the delicate touches spoke volumes. For weeks, she had been weaving her playful web of intrigue, and now, the moment of truth was upon us. Before I could utter a word, Victoria pivoted towards Leo, her fingers gliding along his arm. "What are your thoughts, Leo?" she inquired, her tone soft and alluring. Leo's breath caught in his throat, his eyes sparkling with a blend of astonishment and longing. His gaze met mine, a silent question hanging in the air, yet I found myself at a loss for words. My heart raced wildly, a drumbeat of alarm echoing in my chest, while my mind shouted in protest that this was a mistake, yet my body chose to ignore the warning. I don't know," Leo stammered, his voice trembling with uncertainty. With a gentle smile, Victoria leaned in, her lips just a breath away from his ear. With a gentle whisper, she urged him to relax, her hand gliding up his chest, fingers playfully brushing against the edge of his shirt. "As we gather in this space, let us embrace the present and savor every fleeting second together." Leo took a deep breath, his eyes darting back and forth between me and Victoria. He found himself at a crossroads, his heart heavy with conflict, yet the allure was simply irresistible. With a gentle movement, Victoria leaned closer, her lips whispering against his neck in a tender kiss, a fleeting touch that lingered in the air. Leo inhaled sharply, and I could sense the way his body reacted to her caress. He was determined to see this through to the end. I wasn't either. Victoria leaned back just a touch, her gaze deep and filled with longing as it met mine. "And what tale do you have to share?" she inquired, her hand gently settling on my thigh. "I sense you've pondered this as well." In that moment, I found myself unable to respond, caught in a web of hesitation. My mind swirled with a tempest of clashing feelings. But then, Victoria leaned in, her lips gently grazing mine, tender and unhurried at first. It began as a hesitant kiss, but as I remained still, she intensified it, her hand gliding up my thigh while her other hand found its way back to Leo's leg. I pressed my lips against hers, my heart pounding wildly, my thoughts urging me to pull away, yet I found myself unable to do so. Her lips were a gentle warmth, and with each kiss, the world around us melted into nothingness. The notion of right and wrong had slipped from my mind, leaving only the unfolding narrative before me. My attention was entirely captured by the sensation of Victoria's body against mine, her touch igniting a cascade of shivers that danced along my spine. Victoria drew back just a touch, her gaze locking onto mine. With a soft whisper, she praised him, then turned her attention back to Leo. With a newfound confidence, she pressed her lips against his, her hand gliding up his chest. I observed, captivated, as she intensified the kiss, her form drawing nearer to his. My heart raced, and the intensity of the moment enveloped us like a warm embrace. Victoria had unleashed her spirit, and we followed suit, no longer holding back. She glided between us, her hands wandering over our forms, her lips dancing from Leo to me and back again. The atmosphere in the room crackled with intensity, and the point of no return had been crossed. Victoria's hands danced across my chest, then glided over Leo's back, drawing us nearer, leading us into this mysterious, uncharted realm. Her touch sparked a current, sending ripples of delight coursing through me, and the way Leo inhaled deeply revealed he was experiencing the same sensation. For what seemed like an eternity, we found ourselves enveloped in a tempest of kisses, caresses, and gentle sighs. Victoria took the reins, guiding us with a confidence that set my very soul ablaze, her hands and lips sparking a passion within me that I had never realized existed. My stepmom, a woman I had known for years, had become the focal point of my existence, consuming my thoughts entirely. In a moment that felt almost surreal, I sensed Victoria's hand resting on my chest, a gentle push guiding me back. I reclined on the couch, my breath quickening as she positioned herself above me. As her robe slipped slightly, unveiling more of her form, a rush of excitement surged through me, quickening my pulse. Victoria leaned in, her lips meeting mine in a passionate embrace, her hands gliding up my arms as she drew closer, enveloping me in her warmth. Leo stood close by, observing, his gaze heavy with longing. With a gentle motion, Victoria turned to him, her hand extending, drawing him nearer. She kissed him once more, her body still close to mine, and I could sense the warmth emanating from her. In that fleeting instant, we found ourselves entwined, the three of us, our breaths intertwining, our bodies dancing in perfect harmony. As Victoria pressed her lips to Leo's, her hands glided over my chest, fingers weaving intricate patterns that sent delightful shivers racing down my spine. As I shut my eyes, I surrendered to the enchanting feeling of her touch, the rhythm of her breath, and the gentle dance of her body against mine. Time seemed to fade as the tension between us grew stronger. Victoria's kisses grew more fervent, her touch more insistent, and I sensed the intensity of our connection soaring to its zenith. Leo stood close, his hands wandering over Victoria's form, his lips tracing a path along her neck and shoulders. At last, Victoria drew back, her breath escaping in uneven, frantic bursts. She gazed at us both, her eyes sparkling with a unique satisfaction that was entirely new to me. "You boys did well," she said softly, her voice like a gentle breeze, barely above a whisper. Words escaped me in that moment. My thoughts were a whirlwind, swirling with the echoes of all that had transpired. I cast a fleeting look at Leo, who appeared equally bewildered as I was. We had ventured into uncharted territory, a place from which there was no return, and the path behind us had vanished forever. Victoria smiled, a knowing smile, and leaned in to kiss me one final time, soft and lingering, as if savoring the moment. "I believe we all needed that," she remarked, her voice brimming with satisfaction. With a graceful movement, she rose to her feet, the fabric of her robe gently cinched at her waist, and glided out of the room, leaving silence in her wake. Leo and I found ourselves enveloped in a heavy silence, grappling with the whirlwind of events that had just unfolded before us. After a lengthy silence, Leo finally found his voice, though it trembled with uncertainty. "What on earth just unfolded?" I shook my head, caught in a whirlwind of disbelief. "Ah, my friend, the uncertainty looms large, doesn't it? A mystery wrapped in a riddle, leaving us pondering the unknown." We lingered in that moment, the gravity of recent events wrapping around us like a heavy cloak. It was clear to both of us that Victoria possessed a captivating beauty, one that drew you in effortlessly. Yet, none among us could have foreseen how dramatically events would unfold this evening. As the dust settled and the echoes of the past faded, a question lingered in my mind. What did this signify for us, for Leo and me, for Victoria and me? We had ventured into a realm from which there was no return, and I was left in the dark about what fate awaited us. As Leo finally rose to depart, he cast a glance my way, his face a tapestry of bewilderment and thrill. "Do you believe this will unfold once more?" Alas, I found myself without a response for him entirely. Alas, I found myself without a response for him. All I could do was shrug, my mind still clouded by the tempest of events that had just unfolded. Leo lingered for just a heartbeat more, his gaze fixed on me, anticipating my words, yet I remained quiet. At last, he offered a subtle half-nod before making his way to the door. With a gentle tug, he opened it, then hesitated, casting a fleeting glance over his shoulder. "Do share your thoughts with me. If anything were to occur, just know that, okay?" I nodded, my thoughts swirling, unsure of the words that might escape my lips. "Absolutely, without a doubt." As the door clicked shut, I found myself in solitude, the gravity of all that had transpired settling heavily upon me. Once more the house fell into a hush, a silence that felt almost too profound. My heart raced, and the memory of Victoria's touch lingered, her lips and warmth etched in my mind. It felt like I had just stepped out of a vivid dream, a moment so extraordinary that it lingered in my mind. Yet, this was undeniably real. Time slipped away as I lingered in that vacant room, my mind a whirlwind of racing thoughts. What could this signify? How could we ever return to the way things were after everything that had just unfolded? And the grander inquiry, did I truly desire to? As dawn broke, I stirred from my slumber, a heavy weight of fatigue clinging to me, as if the night had slipped away without a whisper of rest. My mind was a whirlwind, swirling with the events of the previous night. Victoria lingered within the walls of the house, just above me, and I found myself at a loss for how to confront her. The moments danced in my mind, replaying like a cherished tale, each detail vivid and alive. The kisses, the gentle touches, the warmth of her body pressed against mine. It felt like a distant memory, yet it had only been a few hours since it all unfolded. I pulled myself from the comfort of my bed, uncertainty swirling around me like a fog. As I descended the stairs, the rich aroma of coffee enveloped me, and there she stood, Victoria, in the kitchen, clad in a humble t-shirt and jeans, effortlessly casual as if the world had remained unchanged. As her gaze met mine, a gentle smile danced upon her lips. "Morning," she said, her voice light and breezy, as if the day held no surprises at all. "Morning," I whispered, feeling uncertain about how to behave in her presence now. As I reminisced about the events of the previous night, I noticed that Victoria remained completely unfazed. She glided through the kitchen, crafting breakfast with an air of tranquility, as if all was right in her world. I found myself standing there, a bit out of place, as I observed her every move. At last, the weight of the tension became too much to bear. As I began to recount the events of last night, my voice faltered, leaving me at a loss for how to start the tale. Victoria turned, her eyes sparkling with understanding, and her smile warmed the moment. "I imagined that thought would cross your mind," she remarked, casually resting against the counter. "Fear not, for all shall be well." "What can I do to ease my worries?" I exclaimed without thinking. "Let me tell you what unfolded." It was quite the scene. Victoria raised her hand, halting my words in their tracks. "Ah, I see. It caught you off guard, but fear not, it needn't be a tangled web. As grown individuals, we arrived at a decision together. We can leave it at that, or..." Her voice faded into the air, and I caught the subtle tilt of her head, her eyes capturing mine in a moment that felt electric. "Let us delve deeper into this intriguing journey." My heart danced in my chest. Her words caught me off guard, leaving me pondering what I had anticipated, for it certainly wasn't that. Victoria viewed this not as a misstep. She seemed unfazed, as if we hadn't just stepped over a threshold that was forever beyond our reach. Instead, she exuded a sense of calm and composure, as if she had carefully considered her words and was presenting me with a choice. "What do you mean by that?" I inquired, my voice softening, uncertain of the answer I truly sought. With each step, Victoria drew nearer, her actions measured and intentional. "Well, You know, if there's a spark of curiosity, if Leo feels the same, we can certainly keep this going. Her hand brushed against my arm, and once more, I was enveloped by that familiar warmth I had experienced the night before. There's no reason to create discomfort unless you decide to. I took a deep breath, grappling with the meaning of her words. Could this truly be a possibility? Is it possible for this to go on? And if it were to happen, what would that signify for each and every one of us? Just as I was about to respond, the sudden buzz of my phone shattered the stillness of the moment. As I cast my eyes downward, a message from Leo caught my attention. "Greetings, my friend. What tales do you bring today?" As Victoria laid her eyes on the message, a subtle smile danced at the corners of her lips. "It seems that Leo is filled with curiosity," she remarked gently. "Perhaps he's pondering whether what transpired last night was merely a fleeting moment." I gazed at the words, my mind a tempest of ideas. A part of me yearned to declare it was all finished, that the events of last night could simply be attributed to an excess of wine and a fleeting lapse in judgment. Yet, there was another side of me, the one enchanted by Victoria's touch, her kiss, and the feelings she stirred within me, that remained uncertain. In a moment of spontaneity, I found myself replying to Leo's text. "Are you available later? It's time for a conversation." When Leo strolled in that afternoon, it was clear from his expression that he was just as bewildered as I was. At first, he averted his gaze, scanning the room as if he were anticipating Victoria's sudden entrance at any moment. "Pray tell, what transpired under the cloak of darkness last night?" At last, he mustered the courage to speak, his voice barely above a whisper, tinged with uncertainty. I settled into the couch, searching for the perfect words to weave my tale. Well, you see, it all unfolded in a way that was almost beyond comprehension. Leo settled into his seat opposite me, a look of disbelief crossing his face as he shook his head. "Indeed, but she was your stepmother, and we were both part of that tale." He rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture that spoke volumes of his struggle to make sense of it all. I'm at a loss for how to interpret it. With a moment of pause, I found myself uncertain about the right words to share. Should I share the tale of the conversation I had with Victoria earlier? About how she had left the door ajar for us to carry on, whatever this was? Just as I was about to make up my mind, Victoria stepped into the room, her presence instantly captivating everyone around. With a glance at Leo, she turned to me and offered a warm smile. "Hey, Leo," she greeted him, her voice flowing like a gentle stream. "I was wishing we could have a conversation." Leo's eyes sparkled with a hint of surprise as he cast a glance my way, a flicker of uncertainty dancing across his face about the unfolding events. Victoria settled next to me, her fingers gently grazing my knee as she shifted her focus to Leo. "I know last night was unexpected," she began, her voice smooth and unwavering. "Yet, I wish to ensure that we all shared a common understanding. I hope we can keep things comfortable between us. What unfolded last night can be a chapter worth revisiting, but only if it's a tale you both wish to continue telling." Leo blinked, a look of surprise crossing his face at her unexpected candor. He gazed at me, and I could sense the bewilderment in his eyes, yet there was an additional spark, a glimmer of curiosity, of longing, mirroring the very emotions I had been grappling with throughout the day. Victoria pressed on, her voice gentle yet resolute. "I'm not seeking anything too intense. Let's keep it simple. I'm presenting you both with an opportunity. Something unique, something thrilling, but only if it feels right for you both." A moment stretched between Leo and me, our eyes locking in silent contemplation as we grappled with Victoria's proposal. The atmosphere was charged, a palpable energy that quickened my heartbeat and set my thoughts whirling. In the end, Leo's voice emerged, soft and delicate, like a secret shared in the quiet of the night. What unfolds if we choose to embrace that yes? Victoria's smile blossomed ever so gently. And so, she said with a calm certainty, we shall see where the path leads us. Take your time. No attachments, only we two. The air crackled with anticipation as the three of us gathered, the gravity of Victoria's words settling around us like a heavy fog. This truly happened. Her demeanor was one of utmost seriousness. And so, the decision lay before us, waiting to be made. Leo cast another glance my way, his eyes probing for a hint of affirmation, a glimpse into the thoughts swirling in my mind. And in that moment, it dawned on me that I truly didn't want to utter the word no. The part of me that had been resisting, the part that trembled at the implications, was succumbing to the part of me that yearned for something greater. I nodded slowly, feeling my heart race with anticipation. With a calm resolve, I whispered, my voice unwavering even as adrenaline surged within me. With a brief pause, Leo finally gave a nod of agreement. Indeed, he proclaimed, his tone resolute. Count me in. Victoria beamed, her eyes sparkling with delight. With a graceful movement, she rose to her feet and stepped closer to Leo, her hand extending gently to brush against his arm. Ah, she murmured softly. Shall we dive right in without further delay? She leaned in, her lips brushing against his in a gentle kiss, lingering for a heartbeat before she pulled away. As she turned to me, her eyes sparkled with unspoken promises. She leaned down, and our lips met in a soft, lingering kiss that sent a delightful shiver racing down my spine. As Victoria drew away, a smile graced her lips, her eyes shimmering with the same fervor that had captivated us the night before. With a gentle voice, she urged, "Let us carry on with our journey." The afternoon unfolded like a vivid tapestry, woven with sensations, kisses, and touches, as the warmth of our bodies intertwined, guiding us through this uncharted and tantalizing realm. Victoria held the reins, leading us on a journey, her touch sparking a flame within me that I had never realized was there. Whenever I felt we were venturing too far beyond the limits, she would gently guide us back, offering comfort through a kiss, a whisper, a touch. Leo and I were swept away by the same tide, our movements harmonizing with Victoria's, the electricity between us intensifying until it culminated in an eruption of raw, unmistakable desire. In that instant, there was only certainty, no room for doubt, just the three of us, enveloped in the magic of the moment.